Chemocurls. As the name suggests, it's curly hair caused by chemotherapy, but how exactly can chemo make your hair curly? I'm Dr. Naomi, and this is Bimbo Biology. Before we jump in, let's cover some basics. Hair is made up of the shaft and follicle. Your hair shaft is what you can see on the outside of your head. It's all dead cells, particularly mine because it's bleached to the gods. Within the hair shaft, the bulk of it is the cortical layer, which determines physical properties of hair, like texture, while your hair follicle is all the biz happening under the surface. Your hair follicle is alive and responsible for growth. It also has a complex immune system to prevent microbes from entering the skin. A single piece of hair will grow for years and then retract over a couple of weeks, hang out in your head for months, and eventually that piece of hair will fall out and the next one will go through that same cycle of growth, transition, and rest. But what makes hair curly? Well, there are a couple of factors. The first is your genes, and you can find most of those expressed within the part of your hair follicle called the inner root sheath. People with straight hair have follicles that are perpendicular, so the structures they make are symmetrical and the hair itself is round. While people with curly hair have a follicle that sits at an angle, and the structures they make are asymmetrically distributed, so the hair ends up with more of an oval shape. Now, the point of chemo is to destroy cells that grow really quickly, like cancer. Because hair cells divide quickly during growth phase, those cells in your hair follicle are also impacted by chemo. It often leads to a segment of the hair shaft being narrowed and weakened, leading to hair thinning and loss. But as we know, chemo can also make your hair curly, and it's really common. Despite the impacts of chemo on hair being well documented, the specific mechanisms are not completely understood. It's because hair is so tricky to study, but also because there are so many variables, like the type of chemo, how it was administered, and if it was in combination with other therapies. But we have an idea of what's happening. Because chemo impacts the growth cycle of your hair, it's likely that this affects the hair follicle shape, making your hair grow out curly. It's not the most satisfying answer, but it's the best we've got so far. What I find really interesting is that chemocurls aren't necessarily permanent. You're more likely to see the curls for a couple of cycles of hair growth, and those cycles can be really long, but eventually your hair can go back to being straight. My feed is full of luscious chemocurls. If you're someone who's had them though, I would love to hear what your experience was like.